your agenda. Only lists 3 people, not you. That's kind of a bargain. So, the goal here today is for you all to get a sense of what young people are thinking about in terms of sustainability and, of course, particularly bio-based. And so I have had some of these students have been in parts of the conference, a couple people have been here the whole time, but let's just have some conversation. I've prepared 5 different questions. Not necessarily what the questions are, but I've prepared 5 questions, but I'm also going to give you some time to ask these guys questions. We're going to use these guys as a focus panel, if you will. So I'm first going to ask each one of them to give a brief introduction of who you are, where you are in school or not, where you were in school, and just any kind of role that you have in sustainability. That'd be great. You can start us off, Brittany. You have the mic, and I understand you hold it right about this far from me.
Hi, I'm Brittany Whited. I'm a master's in public health student. I'm studying environmental health. I have a chemistry minor, so I barely understood a little bit of that last discussion. I'm TAing right now for the Introduction to Sustainability class, which is part of our new sustainability minor on campus.
Max, go ahead.
Hi everyone, my name is Max Chen. I'm a recent graduate of the George Washington University where I studied international business and sustainability. Sorry, what is the school?
Okay, here's the most important point about Max. He's looking for a job. If I mentioned it, he's one of our star students, and if you have any opportunities, I would appreciate you seeking him out sometime this afternoon. How's that? I did a pretty good sales job. Okay.
Hello, my name is Christopher Prentice. I am an undergraduate majoring in economics. This summer I am interning on the Hill for my congressman, as well as working for the Institute for Corporate Responsibility here at GW's Business School, where we're writing reports and doing case studies, often involving sustainability in business and the cooperation between the two.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Katie Poppy. I'm a 2009 graduate of Penn State University College of Agricultural Sciences in Community and Economic Development. I'm currently working on my master's in food systems through Green Mountain College in Vermont, and I work full-time for Penn State Extension in Chester County, and through that role I work partially with youth education through the 4-H, and I also work with the mushroom growers of Pennsylvania, which is a large group of them concentrated just outside of Philadelphia. So I work on a lot of issues related to that food product.
So that's a pretty impressive panel. A lot of diversity there. 3 current students. Katie hasn't been out for all that long, so we've got the youth view here. Here's my first question, and I would like you all to be honest. Well, I would like you always to be honest, but now I'm really Before this conference, before I reached out to you and asked you to consider being on this panel, had you ever heard of bio-based products? Let's start here on the end.
Very briefly, I mean, going green is a very large thing in the media nowadays. Sustainability is a very large topic, so I believe I may have come across Biobased amongst other initiatives going on, but I think this is the first time I actually sat down and got to know what is going on in the situation.
Do you think you ever said the word bio-based?
I don't think I have.
Brittany.
Yeah, I've never heard the word bio-based, although I think maybe I've been familiar with it at some point, but I've never heard this word.
That's
Honestly, I've never heard of certified bio-based before. I'm sure I'd probably use a few products here and there, but I didn't know that it was bio-based specific.
My first exposure to the term was through the College of Agricultural Sciences at Penn State through a lot of the research area of biofuels at the time, and corn, using corn and sugar cane. And so that was my first exposure to the term, and since now working through the mushroom commodity group, I've learned a lot about the myco-remediation and that aspect of bioproducts, so other ways we can use fungus as opposed to other plant materials, so yeah, a little bit more.
I'm sorry if I've offended anybody in the audience, but yeah, there are other things. My mic's still that on? Yeah, I think we're just going to share. Okay, thank you. So, fair enough. I mean, that panel response is consistent with the survey, that results that we saw this morning about knowledge and how important that is. And that's probably especially important when we're trying to reach these up-and-coming consumers for the products who are thinking green all the time, from my experience. So thank you for that. I wanted to ask you, where do you get your news? And I'll give a little prefatory statement here, and a couple people heard me say this last night. Before I joined USDA as Deputy Secretary, I was 8 years at Tufts University, where I ran a master's PhD program called Agriculture, Food, and the Environment. And it was a policy program. I wasn't trying to compete with a land grant, but prospective students would come to see me and say, if you want to go into production ag, you should go to a land grant. I do the policy angle where you can do it anywhere. And I was really pulling students from the best schools in the country, top of their class. And they were coming to my program, and I'm teaching public policy. And I find out none of them read the newspaper. I start my day at thump, thump, thump. It's the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, and the Washington Post hitting the end of my driveway. That's my generation. I've got Planet Forward here, and a lot of people get their news through tweets, and maybe a newspaper article that's being sent out in that way, and so it's very selective, and you have to be in the right Twitter account. So I just thought it'd be interesting to hear from these young panelists. What are you reading? Where do you get your news? So let's start with you, Katie, at the front end. Go back and forth this way.
I get definitely most of my news through online platforms, not necessarily social media, but just using that as a resource. I remember a friend of mine, when she first entered her undergraduate career, she said, when she went to a certain class, the first thing she would do is through internet look at, CNN or Fox News or whatever it was, and find the events of the day to be prepared as a student. Instead of course, right, it's not the norm to open a newspaper for us. Something interesting for me is working in my master's program right now. I have a cusp of millennials younger than me and a few older next generation. And we were just actually, through a certain course, everyone was required to get a Twitter account. And that was to start following all of the food and agricultural different realms of government and farms, individual farms and whatnot. So that's been a really interesting piece to now keep up with those as opposed to our learning in other places. So for me, that's been actually more of a challenge to use Twitter in that manner, which I don't know if the panel has other thoughts.
Yeah, I haven't touched a physical paper since maybe middle school. I get a lot of my news online. I think I get half of it through more newsy websites like Financial Times, New York Times, Wall Street Journal. Well, I went to business school, so there you go. And those I have saved in my bookmarks bar, so I can just click on one by one when I have time. And then the other half of the news is just more specifically curated news, mostly through social media, especially Facebook and Twitter. These are usually articles that are much more tailored to the audience that I am. So I would get stuff from Entrepreneur Mag and Inc Mag and Planet Forward, and they show up in my newsfeed, and I just click on whatever looks interesting.
I think I start my day off with NPR, and that's how I get most of my news, but then a lot of it would also come just from friends showing up on my Facebook page, articles that they're forwarding. A lot of it is BuzzFeed and Upworthy. If there's a little short video, it's 3 to 5 minutes. I have 3 to 5 minutes to dedicate to something. So I'll watch little clips like that. Beyond that, just from friends, I think. I watch The Daily Show.
Just going off what you said, there's definitely a generational gap. Just being in our early morning routine, I know one of the first things I do in the morning is definitely check my Twitter. I follow, it seems like hundreds of different news accounts, so it's very nice to be able to kind of pick and choose your niche, what you really want to look at, instead of picking up a whole paper and trying to discern what information you want and do not want. So I definitely see it being, at least for the people I know of my age, it's definitely heavily involved around Twitter, as well as those niche news sites that so you can really pick and choose what you want to read.
So I think people can hear me fine. So I really loved the video yesterday. I was telling Karen Edwards, I loved the one that was the drawing one that was explaining. How many of you guys? You all were here. Okay, you had to leave by then. Okay, for those of you who saw it, I was wondering if you reflect on that. I've already prefaced, I've already tainted your answers by saying I liked it, I suppose. But one of the things that I was talking about with Dan and the team up at Planet Forward is the length of time that you watch a video. Like, what's the ideal length of time? I know that you get a lot of video feed through Twitter in particular. What's that? What do you find yourself? How long do you pay attention to something?
Well, our generation definitely has a shorter attention span, so I would say, optimal bit of video time, just based off personal preference, would be between 3 to 6 minutes, something short, something with visuals. We're a very inquisitive generation of people, so don't just tell us, show us, which is, something the video did very well. It drew you along. It was entertaining and informative at the same time. So that is something, I can definitely see as an effective form of marketing in the future.
I'd say 3 to 6 minutes in the morning when I'm alert, but in the afternoon it probably gets shorter and shorter. The video was really interesting though, and fortunately we did watch it in the morning, so it was nice to see all the graphics and infographics about how the soybeans were used and such.
Yeah, I would agree about the same time frame. Definitely having that kind of high resolution of graphics and looking at the process of what it was trying to express to you in a different way was really attractive. And so I think if we can continue kind of doing those things, I think that's how we keep informing our generation of students and people that they want to someday work in that field. So.
I would also say about 3 to 5 minutes, but I think it's important also not to just inform, but to engage. So if you can hook me in those 3 to 5 minutes, I'll spend more of my free time going out and learning more on my own.
So have any of you guys participated in a Google Hangout? And can you explain what that is? Can you explain experience to the crowd?
So for my work in the Institute for Corporate Responsibility, we had a Google Hangout type session for a discussion on coffee bean sustainability and cleaning up the supply chain in that. So basically it's a multi-platform, video, text, comment, sort of platform ideal where you're talking, you're seeing the people talk, and there's 4 different people on the screen, and they go back and forth. It's basically kind of like a panel we had